Kia ora, Justin. Welcome to the Dunedin Stories podcast. Great to have you here with us today.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, really looking forward to sharing your story with our community. So would you like to share with the audience who you are and perhaps the organisation that I think most of us will know that you represent?
Sure. So Justin Stonelake, represent McDonald's, the franchisee here in Dunedin.
Yeah.
Used to be in Invercargill and Gore as well, but realised that, I want to spend more time with the family, so parked that for a bit. But background is definitely McDonald's. Been in McDonald's for 35 years and started in West Auckland. Actually, my father was the franchisee at the time and worked my way through the ranks. Got to a point where what did I want to do? And I was going to be a teacher. I know that's pretty scary for the kids. But then I decided, no, actually I love McDonald's. It pretty much is everything that a teacher does. You're working with young people, you're coaching, you're motivating, you're mentoring, all that sort of stuff. So went down that path, and then that took me to various places. Went and worked in corporate for about 5 years, corporate McDonald's.
Yeah.
That was a challenge. No, it was actually quite good. And then finally one day got the opportunity to become a franchisee in the far north of New Zealand. I was just hoping for a break somewhere. And they said, we actually wanted you to take on not one McDonald's, but 3.
Wow.
So that was pretty daunting. It was never done before.
Yeah.
So, off we went up to the far north of New Zealand, Kirikiri, Kaitaia and Kaikui.
Beautiful places to live.
Yeah, stunning. And that's where we spent 5 years, just learning the business as a business owner before we got tapped on the shoulder and told, hey, you're doing really well. We need you to come to a bigger market and make a difference down these ways. So that's when we ended up coming down to
other end of the country.
Yeah, the other end of the country. Fortunately, I love travelling, so this was, to me, it was almost like a adult OE, and so we came down here, and almost the rest is history. We took over the stores down here, and then we've been here ever since, and that's been now 12, 13 years.
Right.
Yeah.
How does it feel, and do you reflect on the fact that you are a part of the biggest brand in the world, basically?
I don't really dwell on that too much. It's just a neat vehicle to be doing all what I want to do.
Because what it does, doesn't it? It gives you the opportunity to create change within a community.
Yeah, and lead and do entrepreneurial stuff, which has been pretty important part of our journey. But I think that with the big brand of McDonald's, it's a blessing and a curse.
Yeah.
If something happens in Austria, it'll end up through the media feeds, especially with the clickbait stuff at the moment that's in the media. So it affects us. So that side of things is a bit of a struggle, because we're trying to do the right thing, trying to do, run a good business, try and do all the things we want to do. But all it takes is just one of those feeds, just to, whether it's about the food, whether it's about, I don't know, anything. So it's a bit frustrating.
Have you felt welcome in Ōtepoti Dunedin from a business community perspective? Has that been something that's been good for you?
Yeah, look, that's an interesting one.
Yeah.
I would say absolutely 100% yes.
Yeah.
The actual business community is really good. Like, there's some really neat people, some engaged people, some visionary people. These are people that I like to surround myself with. So I really enjoy that side of it. It's McDonald's. So that can be polarizing, though. So some people will love you for it. Some people have maybe strong views that, rah. And it's like, well, actually, if you just, took a little bit of time, step back. So I think people, like, if you look at it, youth employment, we have a good connection there. Well, if you look at some other countries, the rates are up around 50%. Yet here in McDonald's and we employ mainly youth. So we're actually helping a lot of these kids get a part-time job, learn basic skills that they might not be learning in their homes or at school. And we are having to be that sort of vehicle that helps them in that transformation as a stepping stone to wherever they go in the future, or whether they get a career in McDonald's. So,
because it is always an option, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, look, I can speak authentically to that. My 16-year-old daughter works for McDonald's, north end of Dunedin, and it isn't just about learning to work; it's learning to be an adult as well. And that's no small ask for your team to shoulder that with these young kids.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a struggle because, you're trying to meet their needs, the time off for exams, time, what sport they play, everything, basketball, etc. But I think that's the beauty about McDonald's as well. There are not too many businesses that could be that accommodating to that many people.
Yeah.
And I think that's absolutely a strength of McDonald's that probably isn't noticed by the general public, but it definitely, we see it in how we try and facilitate our workforce to make sure that we've got that balance. Okay, you've got to meet the business needs, but also you've got to meet the people's needs, your employees.
That's right. And it's a service industry, and your customers demand quality and they want efficient service and a smile, and you've got to meet that need, don't you?
You do, and it gets harder in today's environment. Like back 20 years ago, there was no social media, now if someone, I don't know, you miss a cheeseburger in the drive-thru, then all of a sudden it's on a social media platform and how could they do this? That's my cheeseburger.
Yeah.
But the reality is we serve thousands and thousands of people every day on a year. I'm not too sure. It'd be just crazy. And we will make mistakes. It's just natural. We've got young people.
It's human.
But it's very difficult for me as an employer when people jump on social media and your daughter is affected because it makes the comments that they're making, it makes it out as if she can't do her job properly. Not that it's about her. It's just people who work in McDonald's.
Yeah.
I think that's really unfair, and I'm a big fan of trying to get more legislation around, social media, the use. There's so much going on in that space that needs to be tidied up. That'll be a real bugbear of mine.
Yeah, no, I agree. Do you think there's a special Dunedin X factor to running a McDonald's here compared to running one in, I don't know, San Francisco or Australia? Does Dunedin offer anything unique for you, or is it more a case of Justin and Ōtepoti have made a difference in Dunedin because of who you are?
Yeah, look, I think, McDonald's.
Yep.
Pretty similar around the world. The big difference, though, is that with McDonald's, there are franchisees like myself and Ōtepoti.
Yeah.
And that's the difference. That's our key strategic advantage over all the other competition in our industry. And I look at the stuff that Ōtepoti and I do in our community versus what our competitors do, and it's night and day. The difference is overwhelming, but that's what I love as well. We can actually do things creatively in Dunedin. Good thing about Dunedin as well is if we were in Auckland, we're one of, I don't know how many stores they've got there, 40. Whereas here, we are Mr. and Mrs. McDonald's.
Yeah.
And everyone knows us.
Yeah.
Even sometimes we don't put up McDonald's branding on a lot of the stuff that we do because, I don't know, just because we just like to diversify and do things, and we might put our name up, but everyone who sees the name links it with McDonald's, and they know that connection, or the Stonelake Foundation. So either or, we don't mind, we win, but we can do that in Dunedin.
Yeah.
You can't do that everywhere.
No.
So that's what I definitely like.
It's a beautiful size, isn't it?
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Yep.
I want to talk about the industry, so the fast food industry, innovation that's happening around it, and whether what we're seeing from an automation and robotics is something that's coming, or are you at peace with that being something a part of the future, and where's it going? Big question.
Yeah. Well, we just got back from Barcelona, and that's where our worldwide convention was, and so that's where you go and see the latest and greatest and what's coming, and McDonald's being as big as it is, it's really interesting on all facets. Where do I see it going? There's a lot of challenges out there. Russia, we pulled out of Russia. That was 10% of our revenue. That's a huge holder, cover. What's going on in Israel, Palestine, these are big issues. But more locally, we are, I can't go and get this bit of equipment or that thing or what. It's pretty much governed through the McDonald's system, which is okay. What I've seen is, there's definitely AI coming into it. To what degree? That's where the jury's out. Because I think that the reality is we are a people business, and some of the stuff that they could try and automate, but I think it'll be too costly and too time consuming, and I don't think they're going to get the benefit that they probably realise. But there will be aspects of it that will come in, and we will see it. You saw kiosks coming in, and a lot of people moaned and groaned at the time, but the reality is that actually gives customers the time to just take their order at their time, their space. They get everything. They're not rushed by someone on the front counter.
And human errors minimised.
They are doing trials in, I think, a couple of states in America around through the drive-through, and the person comes up, hey, I'll have a Big Mac combo, and the automation behind it will go, okay, right, would you like would that be a large combo, and would you like an apple pie with that? And this is all AI behind the scenes. I trialed it in Barcelona, and it was very effective. I tried putting a few different sort of languages that I could improvise with, and it was interesting to see that they are that advanced in it, but that has been in the works for a few years. So
it's not new, is it?
No. I think we've just got to be careful as well. I mean, you look at the labour pressures on our business, it's huge. Food and paper is huge as well. But so there's a lot of cost pressures, and business, whether it's McDonald's, whether it's other businesses, they will figure out how they can get more efficient, be more productive, streamline processes. They're going to be doing all that because they have to. Otherwise, they won't be able to make a profit and won't be able to then hire the next person, etc. And if you look at, going a little bit off tack here, but if you look at, say, the minimum wage, in the last 5 years, it's probably gone up about $5. But if I was to ask you, do you think you're better off now versus 5 years ago?
Yeah, I know the answer to that.
Yeah, you know the answer. And everyone, well, not everyone, but 90% of people would say that actually we're no better off. So some of these, some of the ideology that they think is going to be good might not necessarily have the consequences that, or the intended outcomes that they actually wanted.
Yeah, no, I agree. Locally, how are you adding flavour? And I know the answer to this because we're going to be attending the event shortly, but there's a pretty awesome local event that's got a global brand attached to it as well, of course. Let's talk about that.
Okay. So the Dunedin Supper Club, which is raising money and awareness for Ronald McDonald House charities. That's in 2 weeks today. And that's a neat event. Like it is so, it's just a beautiful event to be a part of. We started off really small in the municipal chambers.
Yeah, I remember.
12 years ago, and then it's just grown ever since. And we're at a point now where the event is maxed out.
Yeah.
We can only sell 100 tables. And it's just a really neat event because it brings everyone together. What I like about the event is that we made it where not only the charity does well out of the night, but also our local community. Trying to involve all the restaurants and bars and venues that we could, but not only to get them to participate, but also we would actually give them some of the funds that were raised through the ticket sales to help with their costs on the night. And during COVID and all that sort of stuff, when we could actually hold the events, that was awesome because everyone was afraid of going out to the city and going into a restaurant and be seen that close to someone else. So to try and revitalise hospitality, because the reality is hospitality took a massive hit during COVID and we're still recovering. So it's been brutal, but I think that has been an absolute. You talk about that community. How are what are we doing? How are we bringing that together? That's a real good example. And then that's one thing to raise the money, but then to actually have a tangible asset in the Ronald McDonald House that is coming to Dunedin. That's legacy stuff.
Yeah.
And when I'm 6 feet under and no longer here, and I can look back and say, what did Ōtepoti and Justin do for the community? We could look back at a number of things, but I think that will be one that we'll look back fondly on.
100%.
And know that we were a massive part of facilitating this need for not only Dunedin, but the Otago region, the Southern region, home run. So it's and when you hear the stories of the people who use the facilities through RMHC, that's when you stay grounded, that you're actually doing things that really matter. There's a lot of people doing a lot of stuff, but it's the stuff that really matters is what really gets me excited.
Much gratitude for you and Ōtepoti for having that vision. It definitely felt like a bit of a pipe dream at the start. It was like, we might try and get a hospital, but it's actually happening.
Yeah. Yep.
It's fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah, and it's stuff like that. We also put in significant money to help facilitate the new aquatic complex out in Mosgiel.
Yes, we did.
And it's that sort of stuff that, yes, we sponsor a lot of sports teams. That's just our jam. We'll try and help out wherever we can. But when we can actually help drive real key projects that are going to be here for a very long time, generational, and so our kids will benefit from it. That's awesome. And Ōtepoti and I are constantly looking at what's next, what would we like to be involved in, and it's a nice position to be in, to be able to help in that way.
No, it's great. Thank you. Let's talk a little bit more about local, but we'll go down into the detail.
Okay.
I know you're regular hospitality lovers, as we all are. So let's say you've got a friend visiting Ōtepoti Dunedin to come and hang out with you for a while. Have you got a favourite lunch spot? Now, you're not allowed to say McDonald's, because obviously.
No, it's okay. It sort of depends on who it is, but we're out in Mosgiel way, and probably our go-to that's very consistent, very family orientated, very nice around. It ticks so many boxes, and that's Ōtepoti Cafe out in Walls.
Nice.
Garden centre.
Yeah.
And that's just lovely. Yeah. Actually, funnily enough, we were there this morning, and it was just nice just to have that's where I go for sort of breakfast, brunch, lunch, something like that.
Beautiful. A few activities for the kids as well.
Yeah, you got mini golf. They've got the maze out there. Yeah. They've got the driving range. Yeah. And our boys
train
into
in the
that
train.
Yeah. So no, it ticks a lot of boxes, which is pretty cool.
Nice.
If it was dinner, I mean, there's so many good options. I almost feel a bit guilty if I singled too many out, but I suppose we like to support people who support us as well with our supper club. Yeah. And probably one of the ones who really help out in a lot of different ways is Andre from Vault Prohibition House, and he's just about to open up a third restaurant. I don't know if you're across that, but that's I think we've got the goss. Yeah, sorry Andre if I'm not meant to spill the beans, but so that's opening up real soon, like as in could be this week, possibly next week.
And we've still got Deja Vu as a location.
Still as a venue. So if you've got 21st, if you've got any gathering that's of importance, that's pretty cool.
No, shout out to Andre. He does so much for the community.
Yeah, I don't think people realise how much some of these key people in and around Dunedin do. You won't see them, shouting from the rooftops or anything. They just go about it. And Andre has been massive support for us. He helps out with the live auctions, silent auctions, restaurants, bar managers on the night. He does everything. After party. Can't say or speak highly enough about his contribution to us, but also the community.
I'm twisting his arm at the moment to come on and hear his story. So
I'll help you.
You can help me with that.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
What about an event? Now, we can't say the supper club because we've already talked about that, but is there a Dunedin-esque event, maybe a family event, Justin, where you take the kids and every year you think, yeah, that's something that's really
Well,
unique
that one's
to
going to stump
Dunedin?
me. An event. I wouldn't say that we particularly lock in a particular event.
No?
Part of my makeup is I like the spontaneity of life.
Yeah.
So we will do just random stuff. When I say that, I'll give you an example. About 2 weeks ago at St. Paul's Cathedral, they had the Michigan choir come to Dunedin.
Did they?
And then there was, in the choir, there was a kid from age 16 all the way up to an old lady who was 83. And they were there, they put on a performance for an hour. It was beautiful.
Wow.
They sung a couple of songs from Intereo, which was awesome. Also from the Pacific, they took on a Samoan song there that was quite hard to do.
This is awesome.
So, but I'm sitting there and I'm going, we're in Dunedin and we're listening to the Michigan choir in Dunedin.
I don't remember seeing that come across my radar, perhaps.
Yeah, it was. But I think that's the point I'm trying to make is there's so many of these little events that people might not know about, but fortunately, if you do, how good.
Surreal experience.
Even all the stuff at the Regent Theatre that comes along. The obviously the stadium.
Yes.
Like, we're massive supporters. We go along to every single concert, every game of rugby that we can, every event that they have, because we are blessed to have that facility here in Dunedin. Now, I know it caused a bit of angst at the start. Whatever. Yeah,
What doesn't?
Yeah, what doesn't in Dunedin? Any change? Whoa! But from our perspective, we want to be those people that actually help lead, help drive events like that in any way that we can. Because I think...
Oh, we need to attract people to live here, don't we? And stay.
Exactly. Yeah. Otherwise, we travel quite a bit and we've seen lots of cities and I always try and think when I go to a city, what's this remarkable for? And there was a big debate maybe a couple of years ago around Dunedin, and it was like, oh, we want to keep the architecture and keep the culture and whatever, but we want to do modern as well. And people were saying, well, you can't have both. But you look around the world, Montreal would be a great example of the old and the new, and it can be done.
Of course you can.
So we just got to, as you say, attract more people, prioritise what's important, and make it really, a
positive
special
lifestyle for those that want to stay. And, and perhaps our youngsters will go off to visit far off lands, but fingers crossed they'll come back and be just as passionate as we are.
Yep, for sure.
Question that people find a little bit tricky sometimes, but I don't think you will, is the Dunedin legend one. So we ask people if they'd name somebody that's a Dunedin legend that share an Ocho hot chocolate or a Speight's with. And there might be somebody that's passed away or maybe not.
I can think of a few. What I would say, though, is I do like, I look at things like the Edgar Centre. There's a name on it for a reason. That person must have done really good stuff in this community.
He did.
You don't get that honour bestowed to you. So I look at things like that and I go, wow, wouldn't that be cool to be having, just to pick that brain? Because that brain is not just business.
No.
That'll be a philanthropic person that wants to do good, not only for themselves, but for the wider community. Those are the people that, if I was to pick someone, that's probably where I'd like to go and learn from. But I do love my sport.
I know.
And
I knew this was coming.
So look, I would say Bender in a heartbeat with a Speight's.
Of course.
And in Emerson's, or just something local, and just grabbing some. Emerson's got some great brew as well, and just sitting down and having a real good conversation with him. He's a lovely guy. I know him a little bit. We've had some. He's been to our supper club, a few times, but he's down to earth. But what I think is, he has made the most out of the talents that God gave him. but he's also stuck to true to his roots. And he, some of these people can get carried away with the lifestyle, the perks of being a glamorous All Black, etc.
Yeah.
No, you don't get that vibe with him. You just get that he just wants to, do well for his family, his community, and so that's definitely someone that
I can sense
easily
the
have a
alignment.
beer with. Fair to say, I think I've got a man crush on him. Or he's that sort of guy.
That's cute. I'm sure he knows that already, though.
He does. Yeah.
What's cooking in the future, Justin? What does the rest of 2024 look like for you and the whānau and McDonald's locally?
Yeah, so probably from a McDonald's perspective, I think everyone's probably, cat's out of the bag there. The Green Island restaurant is going to be opening up.
For somebody that didn't want to work too hard and wanted to spend more family time, let's open a new restaurant.
Yeah, but it's sort of okay because it's here.
Yeah.
It's within 5 minutes of our place. It's doable. It's when you're travelling 2.5 hours and you're spending that time away from your family and then you're staying there for a week or 2 weeks, you're missing out on some valuable time. And our kids are growing up way too fast. I think we can anyone who has kids will agree, and definitely want to spend some time with them. But Green Island, it'll be a challenge, but it's something that there is a need. The amount of times that I get asked from everyone, and especially Mosgiel that knows us, and Green Island, and
if
Fairfield.
not Mosgiel, then Green Island. It's like that, isn't it? And you've got amazing support from the community.
Yeah.
I hope you're feeling that. And I know that there's lots of other naysayers and things.
You get a thick skin in this business, and you don't worry too much about that. But no, there is a need, and that's a big part of where we're heading as an organisation.
Yeah.
We're getting to the stage in my career where Eda and I, we want to do the good, a lot more of the good stuff. And so, to give you a couple of examples, about maybe a month ago, I picked out maybe 16 of our key employees, ones that have been with us since we got to Dunedin. And I said, look, those were tough times. And, they were really hard at the start when you're trying to implement change and do what we were doing. And I said, so I've got a soft spot for you guys and I want to look after you. And I said, so we're going to put a travel incentive in place. And I won't tell you the individual numbers, but as a business, it's probably going to cost us close to $200,000. Now, we are having our worst year financially. So to go and spend $200,000 on what you'd consider is it a must do or is it a nice to do? Well, it's not a must do, but it's a nice to do. But we really, really have a passion for the people who helped us along the way. And this is a way for us to go, hey, thank you. I really appreciate what you've done for us. So that's one example. And then, because you're asking, what does 2024 look like? This is the fun stuff that we want to do. And the other one is we've got a lady that works with us, and she's coming up 30 years of employment with McDonald's.
Wow.
30 years in any business is huge. But McDonald's, given that it's demanding, fast, customers, So, we're going to go out and get her a company car. And she'll be the only one outside of the senior management team that has that. But that's the sort of stuff that we want to be doing. So that's the businessy type stuff that we're into. The other side, from a personal perspective, I turned 50 last year, and
no,
I know.
You're over 25, Justin.
Oh, you're too kind. But I'm on a bit of a journey now in terms of trying to figure out how do I live a healthy and long life. Not just a long life, but a healthy life. And so we're doing a lot of things in that space to try and read, podcasts, you name it, really trying to get to the guts of good routines, how to prioritize my health. Myers-Briggs, you've probably done that sort of stuff before. I won't tell you what I am, but one of the things that I need to work on is that I'll look after everyone else before myself. And I think there's actually a lot of people in business that are very similar. They will look after everyone else. And so what I need to do is prioritize me, because I know that if I do that, I'll be a better husband, I'll be a better dad, I'll be a better employer, all that sort of stuff. So I think it's only going to help if I do that. And I'm really looking forward to that journey over the next 10 years to try and stay as healthy as I can so that you can live a long life. This world, yes, we all have our grumbles and groans, but it's a beautiful world.
It is.
And there's so many opportunities out there. And Dana White, I don't know if you know Dana White, he's UFC CEO. And he says, I love each day. I don't even like sleeping. I just wanna. He's just so excited, so buoyant on life that he just wants to bounce out of bed and just get into what he's getting into. That's a great way to live. You know, a lot of people drag themselves out of bed. Whereas, how cool would that be if you can do everything within your control to get you in a state where you want to get out of bed so that you can be the best version of you.
I love that, Justin.
That's his...
Thank you for reminding me of that, actually. That's, interesting.
So I'm on that journey and...
INFJ. Which is a very similar narrative to what you're talking about, but with a whole...
I wouldn't have picked you as an I, but okay.
Yeah, no, most people that I share that with say exactly that. But I love my own company, more so than I do crowds, but force myself into that situation.
I think in the leadership roles that we have, like I was an INFP, but it's funny because over time I've morphed into...
An E?
Yeah, an E. And I think that is because... You know, we're just around people all day, every day. Yeah. But we also love our own company. Like, you know, if people ask you, oh, okay, well, you know, what do you like doing when you're not at work? Oh, man, I just like to just chill. I love my own company.
Exactly.
And it's a good place.
Thank you so much for sharing your story today. We didn't get through all of the questions because we've run out of time, but I think we covered the most incredible things. Thank you so much. You're such an inspiration. You and Ita do so much for the community. I know you don't get thanked enough. And I did have to twist your arm over many months to get you to come here today because you're not somebody that goes out there and speaks up about what you do. So thank you, Justin.
Well, I appreciate your kind words, but I think also, I think you got to take heart in what you guys are doing. You know, as a duo, the stuff that you're doing and the Yes campaign. Started local and then just grew and morphed. And look at it now, national. And then you look at this, you know, as I said, hospitality, business, so many sectors have been...
Everybody's feeling
hammered. They're all feeling it, right? So for you to actually, you know, twist the narrative or change the narrative to a real positive, hey, here's Dunedin, here's some of its business leaders. Here's their voice, giving them a voice to actually talk just in a cool setting like this where it's nice and easy. I think you guys should be applauded. I think what you're doing is just fantastic. And I always sit back and I go, geez, not only are you guys visionary, but you also got that nice mix. A lot of people can be visionary, but they struggle with the action part. Whereas I think you guys have a nice balance of both. And it's going to be interesting to see where your business goes. And I'll be watching and as you know, very proud supporter and thank you for what you guys do for us, you know, around supper clubs, around this sort of stuff. So appreciate it.
That's awesome. Love your work. Thanks.